All right, in this video, I just want to go through really how to set up a Word document to incorporate really your cover page, contents page, or perhaps just even putting in stuff like headers, but also using headings in Microsoft Word, which will make your contents page a lot more straightforward to do and make the overall document a lot more manageable. Now, I just loaded up a brand new Word document there. You can see there's nothing in it, just one page here, no headers, footers, or whatnot. And as soon as you open it up, you can see there's like a wee navigation panel across the left-hand side here. Now, look, you can shut that down and make it disappear if you just want to see the page. But if you go into View, and you can see there's a number of drop-down menus here now. If you just tick there the navigation pane, that will always put that back up again. All right, and as I start to build in headings, you'll see this will start to fill out really, and it makes navigation of your document a lot more straightforward. Another really useful application of this navigation pane is that you can type in keywords to search throughout your text. So one big problem for a lot of students might be, for instance, CO2, not really putting the 2 in as a subscript. And again, that will take down your spelling, punctuation, and grammar marks. So just being able to type that in there and then quickly checking to see how many times in your document and making those rectifications can be really, really useful. Another big one, just a wee hint, is meters squared. So, you know, the 2 needs to be made like a superscript in this case. Again, that will impact your spelling, punctuation, and grammar as you make your way through the report. Now, the first thing you want to do in a Word document here, if you want to just maybe just save it here somewhere, so I don't lose any of this work or doesn't kick out my desktop, just as maybe ETAS report. You can save whatever you want to. And I want to first of all put in like a nice tidy cover page. So if I go to insert here, you can see there's a huge amount of different options available here. But over towards the left-hand side, you can see cover page. And then if you just click the wee drop-down menu there, you've got a number of different options which you can choose really the default cover pages used by Word. And of course, I'd recommend use one of them. Use one that you think looks well. You can adapt it a little bit, put in text, add a wee image and whatnot in there as well. All right, so I might just say, like I might use, I've seen all these used really over the years. I might just maybe want to use this one here. All right, and you can then really type in like your document's title, maybe something like AS Environmental Technology. It's not going to go, some of these titles will not allow you to go small cap, like, so if it's just going to be automatically capitalized, that's perfectly fine. And you could maybe type in down beneath like a wee subtitle if you want, or something like your Unit 2 project. You could put some more detail in there if you wanted to, like making it specific to the project you're doing. So this year it might be like something along the lines of, you know, an analysis of various different renewable energy technologies for a garden centre. But of course, you want to tweak that to suit yourself, make it unique to you. And of course, every year in the future, you want to pin that back to the specific project you're doing. Of course, that garden centre is applicable for 24-25. It will not be applicable, of course, in the future years. If you come on ahead down along the bottom there, like you can see, you can change this text. I think just a couple of things, I suppose, from my perspective. You do want to put your name in there somewhere. I do think you want to put in the school you attend. So for the guys I'm teaching, it'll be St. Coleman's. You're right. I'll put the wee apostrophe in there. And one other key thing you really want to put on your front page is your candidate number. And of course, that's going to be a 4-digit code that's applicable to yourself. All right. Again, it's perhaps not just as critical, since in really the 20 exam series there for 2024, these reports are now submitted to see it through ECRS in PDF format. But it means then, of course, that on the very front page, you've got the candidate number for the student. Because even though I mark these myself electronically, putting wee comments in the PDF, some people probably prefer to print it off on paper and do the marking there. So the file, the PDF being saved with the candidate's number is no longer going to be useful to those students. So see, you really probably will want that candidate number outlined on the front of your document as well. Now, after you've done that, you've made that unique to yourself. You might want to go into Google Images. As I've sort of mentioned this year, I don't mind some sort of an AI generator being used to create a nice colorful image, but that's it. You should not be using AI then really for the rest of your report. You can then, of course, screenshot that, go into Paint, crop it. So for instance, again, if you do find like a nice image, and again, in previous years, students just got these off the internet. You could just type in like garden center with renewables. See what's sort of out there if you go to Google Images, and you know, you can see there's maybe a garden center there. Trying to put a picture in with somebody's face in it, like I don't really want that in place. But there seems to be a decent wee one there, like a wee, or there as well. Just a wee garden centre there, like, and you can see there's solar PV panels on the roof. So you might want to maybe copy that. If you don't want to copy in too big of a file, like you could just click on the link. Hopefully it'll load up, and then maybe just screenshot that. So what I could do here is just, if you check your keyboard, don't really want that wee bloody caption down there. So we'll just maybe try and go back here a wee second. But just even as a sort of, I'm not going to get through the finer details here, like, but if you do, say for instance, do screenshot on your keyboard, I always personally then just go into Paint. You can then paste that. You can then move the image across. If you go to select here, you can then drag a wee square basically around where you want to take. I don't like the fact they've got the wee green arrows here, like, but you can find one that doesn't have these. Just do the same process. You can see now just copy inside it. So just to do that again, if you hit select, go to the top left corner, hold down the left mouse, then drag that box or whatever happens to be your rectangle, depending on the geometry of your picture. When you've got that selected, go inside, right click, go copy. And then if you go back into your Word document, you can then click in here somewhere and just go paste. You might have to do a wee bit of footing about here, like to get that maybe inside your cover page somewhere. You can see I've dragged it up there. There might be a wee bit of work required just to get that pushed down. I've also found there maybe yesterday doing a little bit of work. If you even maybe say copy one of these wee text, if you copy one of these wee text boxes up and maybe dump that in the middle of your page somewhere, you can drag that down. But what you can then do is then, if I don't want maybe necessarily to put the text in there, I can maybe delete that. I can perhaps make that text box a lot bigger. And then perhaps the image is sort of moved there for me. But you can do a little bit of footing about yourself there, like to get that image where you really want it to be. That does require sometimes a little bit of sort of maneuvering and whatnot. So if I go back inside that text box maybe now I can perhaps go back into the image and let me try and copy and paste the actual image in there. So you sort of get a rough idea like of how you can do that. The next thing then is to look really at how we can then build in headings to the document. So if we go into Microsoft Word again, I can go to the first heading here. I might want to click heading 1 here and then type in text. The first part of your report might just be like your introduction. Now, when you put that heading in there, and if you come along the top left corner here, you can see introduction then goes in there as one of your keywords. And that's where you want to put in the data about yourself, what you're doing, and so on and so forth too. The next head might be, for instance, then like the energy requirements or development. And if I put that heading in, there's a heading 1 as well. You can see, of course, by default, that goes into the wee sort of headings up here along that side as well. Now, let's say, for instance, I don't want that to be a heading 1 anymore. If you see as you sort of take spaces there, and then that's giving me a space there as well, I might just want to then click in there and then just go back to normal. That will get rid of those really as headings. And if you think there's a heading, but in somewhere there's no text, you can then quite simply delete those out and get back to where you want to be. So I want to maybe try and push these down to the next page. I don't want that as a heading, so I might just click again, like get rid of that, put it back to normal. You can see this one's a little bit larger, and so I want to put that back to normal really as well. I might want to put a page break in here now to push these couple of headings onto the next page. So if I go into then insert, want to put a page break in there to fire it on a page 3. Now, on page 2, I might want to drop back now and then put in a contents page. Now, if I go to references, come across the left-hand side, you can see you've got the option of putting in a table of contents. Now, you can choose whichever one suits yourself. I'm just going to choose the default up here, and you can see automatically Word will put a contents page in there for you. Now, the benefit of that really is that you can then do the rest of your report, putting in your various headings, and then you can come back up here and you can get the contents page to update automatically for you. So if you just put the cursor on top of the contents page, then do your right click. If you then go to update field, select update entire table, that will always update the entire contents page for you. But just to make it sort of obvious that that's the case, I might then have my next heading then maybe as wind energy research or something along those lines. And perhaps then I'm going to again want to make that like a heading 1 or something like that. You can see automatically the contents page there. Oh, sorry, the wee headings page here, top left corner, will be updated perfectly fine. And if I go up to my contents page, you can see it hasn't automatically updated. But again, if I just quite simply right click, go to update field, update entire table, you will see that will update. Plus the page numbers will automatically update as well. Now, as you go through your report, you might want to put different level headings in. And again, you don't have to do this. But let's say, for instance, if you're doing the work for me in school, you might want to have, just need to put an extra I in there. You might want to have maybe as a layer 1 heading task 1 for me. That's probably how I would do it. So I would set this maybe to level 1, do, help if I can spell here, task 1. And you can see, of course, that's up there as a heading. Now, all the work within task 1, you might then want to set it at like a lower level. And again, this is purely optional. So I can select these headings here, go back up to home and set them really as level 2 headings. And again, you can see at the moment, unfortunately, these wee spaces here are currently set. I just put that back to normal. It's perfectly fine. I put that back to normal, and you can see I can write text in there now, and it's no longer taken up like a heading. But the benefit of that then of course, is task 1 is a main heading, and then these are all dropping down then really as subheadings within that particular category. You can then, of course, go into your task 2 in due course, set that to be a level 1, and then really all the wee categories inside that can then be set to your sort of task or level 2 as well. Just to prove that these do update the page numbers, you can see if I was to skip this and push it ahead to the next page, and perhaps then push this on to the next page. If I go back to my contents at the very start up here, and then right click again and then go update field, update the entire table, you can see the entire contents page will update for you. And you can see, of course, that task 1 is a main heading now. And then these other ones are really set in there as a lower level heading. Again, that is purely optional. It's just something that might be useful just to sort of try and make the report easier to manage and I suppose useful leading into your university studies really as well. All right, so that's finished up this video. Hopefully that's been useful. And again, you can see that contents page being able to do that automatically. It should save you an awful lot of time and hassle in this project. And of course, all assignments you do in the years ahead.